October 19, 2022, 9:11 a.m. Chapter 9. Here we interpret Article 1, Section 21 of the Tennessee State Constitution, where just compensation is guaranteed.
Just compensation demanded. As the third most popular county in Tennessee, Knox County lies in eastern part of the state and was named for Henry Knox, who served as the first Secretary of War in the United States from 1789 to 1794. There are 9 other U.S. counties named after Henry Knox. In East Tennessee's Great Valley, where the French and Holston rivers meet to form the Tennessee River, Knox County is located at the valley's geographical center. Being created June 11, 1792 from parts of Hawkins and Greene Counties, Knox County was created when the area was still the Southwest Territory. In 1783, an expedition in the Upper Tennessee Valley would bring James White to move to the area in 1785 and build a fort the following year, where a community would form around the fortified trading post. This would become the city of Knoxville. It was named after Governor Blount's superior officer, but before or just as soon as all the signatures had been signed, the Royal Assembly of Greater Men of the Southwest Territory became that of Knox County and crowned their sovereign.
James Henry Knox, who was also known as the Free Radical, was a scholar, a gentleman, a slave, and greater man who lived within the boundaries of Knox County. In 1860, the Knox County Census report showed the enslaved population right at 12%, with whites making up the other 88%. Of those 22,390 recorded residents in the county, which encompasses 528 square miles, it would be absurd not to, probably not calculate, but at least consider those who didn't make the count. The backwoods were home not only to the ever-elusive 12-point buck, those who prefer not paying taxes, and residents who had been so far removed since the Revolution, but also greater men. Due to the mountainous region of East Tennessee, slavery was not as prevalent as in the western and middle part of the state, but it was there, nonetheless. Their position on slavery resulted in the county, like many other in East Tennessee, voting against secession to no avail. In February of 1861, a statewide referendum on Tennessee's secession would result in 89% of the county being pro-Union, and June 8 of the same year, Knox Countyans voted again against the split from our greater United States. The political machine which became the Confederate States of America would tear Tennessee, Knox County, and its other pro-Union counties from the Union itself. That not without resistance paid 1,861 income taxes to the Confederate States of America. The Free Radical knew that they were not in it for the money or reverse psychological plot. They are in it because it is right and good. Their fear of our being devalued is why Confederates fought, while the Union just suppressed the issue with the greater force, but strategy.
James Henry Knox was a strategist who wasn't so much as strong but timely and effective when he wasn't working at the timber mill. When he wasn't at the timber mill, he found the joy of others' happiness in the toys he would whittle. He initially began carving wood from pieces of leftover wood where he could. First, he began by whittling horses, and soon after he perfected them, he moved on to men who could fit on the horses. He was a master in strategy and moved from there to perfecting the knights, which would be those who adorned the chessboard. He had a very acute sense of attention to detail and knew that not only were his players on his boards unique, they had a certain conformity which made them all congruent. Every move with him was a calculated step, and that Christmas of 1861 was promising to be the most advantageous in a long time. Chessboards were all the rave as America was engaged in war, and everyone enlisting in the armed forces would prefer being a general than a private. Controlling what little we have on this earth, we use the pieces of the chessboard to represent the might of our will. Brute force when attempting to subdue an opponent may be necessary in a lot of instances, but the subjugation of any group or party of individuals begins in the mind with strategy. Anyone can have superior numbers or larger, more explosive weaponry, but it only takes one man to stand, e pluribus unum, to defeat them all. With the number of children not old enough for battle and the number of those elderly with the time and patience to train the youth, chessboards were the most popular Christmas gift the winter the nation went to war with itself.
The Free Radical magically controlled a significant percentage of holiday gifts that year in Knox County and surrounding pro-Union counties, and consequently the income. His games made a considerable amount, with Knoxville's railroad more readily distributing the sets, and funded his campaign for governor while the country was at war. By November of 1860, the Free Radical obtained more write-in votes than any other candidate while training for and winning his latest prize fight, where in actuality he had been crowned, for lack of a better term, governor of the Royal Assembly of Greater Men of Knox County.
In November 1861, martial law was enforced in Knoxville, but from the November 1860 elections, where the Free Radical won the write-in candidacy in Knox County, until the summer of 1863, James Henry Knox was known as the master of the chessboard. When Union forces invaded Knox County, the Free Radical moved the prize fights to different locations about the county. So, the Confederate forces too retreated, when the Union Army advanced on Knoxville. The pro-Unionist county was relieved to see the Union regain control of the city, but in the backwoods, patiently waiting under control and in order, stood the Royal Assembly of Greater Men of Knox County selling chess sets. The railroad made distribution a much easier project for the holiday season of 1863, where the might of military force for the Confederacy was consumed by the energy invested in the Royal Assembly's annual chess tournament. It wasn't about might but strategy in Knox County, and the Free Radical proved his position in both ways that year. He won the election and subsequent prize fight and provided families a small scale of the battlefield.
That concludes the information for this time. Tune in next Wednesday for Chapter 10.